The D-backs had themselves a feel-good win as they routed the Cardinals 14-1, but did they use all their offensive juice in game number 2?
You are Locked On Diamondbacks, your daily Arizona Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You're listening to who? Always charismatic host of this podcast, Millard Thomas. I'm a multimedia journalist and I'm a graphic designer. So please go check out my website, MillardThomas24.downmyportfolio.com. On there you can see all my latest work, from my packages to my articles to my photos and my graphic design. If you want to see more content by me, just follow me on Twitter at CareerThomas24 for my personal account, or look up Locked On Diamondbacks about Twitter and Instagram for the podcast handle. Today's episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use code all lowercase Locked On MLB for a first deposit match up to $100. On today's Locked On Diamondbacks podcast, we'll be talking about the D-backs blowout win over the St. Louis Cardinals, what they have to do in the finale if they want to win this series, and what the pitching staff is going to look like going forward with all the injuries. But I first want to say thank you for making Locked On Diamondbacks your first listen every day. I would not be able to do this podcast without you, my loyal listeners, sharing, subscribing, reviewing, doing all that so I could do this podcast for you. Thank you. It's free. It's available on all platforms. So please continue to tell your friends. And one of those platforms is YouTube. So please hit subscribe to Locked On Diamondbacks on YouTube. But now let's get into the podcast and let's talk about that D-backs blowout win in game 2 over the St. Louis Cardinals. We'll talk about all the positives in segment number 1. Then we'll talk about some things that the D-backs need to work on if they want to win the finale. But first, positive takeaways from this game. The first one that I want to talk about is what happened in that third inning, because the D-backs were able to put 4 runs on the board in the third inning, and it was really impressive because it all came with 2 hits. Lourdes Gurriel with a little jam shot was able to score. Jake McCarthy, Ketel Marte goes to third base, and then Christian Walker on a hanging ball in the middle of the zone crushed it for a 3-run bomb. I love to see the D-backs come through with 2 outs. Those are like the money situations. That's like the most demoralizing thing you could do to opposing team. I know as a fan, whenever I see opposing offenses go off with 2 outs, it feels soul crushing. So for the D-backs to put up 4 runs in that third inning, all coming with 2 outs, I thought was really impressive. And then it was topped off by a Christian Walker home run, 105.7 exit velo, 418 feet, and it would have been a home run in all 30 ballparks. My new favorite stat to look at. Randal Grichuk is also someone that's heating up. If you look at his recent gameplay, he's been performing a little bit better. He's coming through in the clutch. Of course, had that big knock to win the D-backs game in the last couple of weeks. You look at his numbers with runners in scoring position. Randal Grichuk has been really phenomenal in that area as well. Just entering tonight's game, Randal Grichuk was 4 for 8 in those situations, with a couple doubles, 6 RBIs entering tonight's game. So that's only going to be better. Randal Grichuk, I think, has been a really important piece for the D-backs as he's starting to play his way into game shape and just get more comfortable with the squad. You can see his value with the bat. You can see him play a little bit of defense as well. I think Grichuk was a sneaky pickup by Mike Hayes in the offseason. I think is going to be paying dividends as he gets healthier as the season progresses. Pavin Smith, I know there was a lot of moans and groans when you saw Pavin Smith get called up, because we know he has received way too many opportunities in the past, but this could be a new Pavin Smith, because the issue for Pavin throughout his career was slugging in defense, and the defense probably is not going to improve by much, but maybe the power will, because Pavin Smith put some rockets into play tonight. He had a home run. He had a double, 2 for 5, 2 runs scored, 6 RBIs for Pavin Smith. His home run would have cleared every single ballpark except for Oracle in Major League Baseball. His home run, 101.9 miles per hour off the bat, 406 feet. Even his double would have cleared 16 of the Major League ballparks, more than half. So Pavin Smith had himself a night. Do we think it's sustainable? Probably not. We probably don't think that Pavin Smith can sustain any level of consistent offense for a long period of time. We probably really don't want him even backing up Christian Walker, because Christian Walker is a guy that could play 160 games and it's no problem for him. But we do like to see Pavin Smith come through offensively. He's still a friend of the pod. Does he have a long-term future with the D-backs? Probably not. Does he even have a long-term future within Major League Baseball? I don't know, but I love to see him come through when he does come through, and he did that in a big way. Grand slam, double, 6 RBIs. Great game by Pavin Smith. We'll see if he can keep it going at all going forward. If he does get more opportunities, this was at least a good night for him to say, you know what, keep me on the major league level as a bench piece. Kevin Newman, so far to start the year with the D-backs, I mean, the slash line is not good, but I feel like in the games I do watch Kevin Newman, I feel like he isn't bad. I feel like the defense is just fine. Offensively, like, it's not great. Again, the slash line, 189, 211, 324. So definitely gives you Jace Peterson vibes, but I feel like he comes through in the clutch from time to time, and the numbers actually back that up, because Kevin Newman entering tonight had a 357 average and 1,000 OPS with runners in scoring position. So Newman, another one of those Eugenio Suarez types where he sucks game to game unless you put him in a scoring position opportunity. That's when he absolutely comes alive for this D-backs offense. So even though the slash line is bad for Kevin Newman, the vibe that I've gotten from him this season is that he's not terrible, and his numbers with runners in scoring position have absolutely backed that up. Kevin Newman, not atrocious. He's at least a little bit better than a Jace Peterson, and that's probably not saying much. Tommy Henry did a great job in this game. Maybe I should have gone to him sooner. He was able to dance out of danger a couple times. He had that one inning. We had a couple men on, threw the fastball right by Paul Goldschmidt, was able to induce an out later in that inning, still with 2 men on. Tommy Henry, I thought, was absolutely fantastic. The last time we saw him, he was good through the first 5 innings, and then that 6th inning, he just ran into so much trouble, gave up double after double after double. But this was a start that we want from Tommy Henry when he was pitching last time, because last time it felt like we were going to get 6 super clean innings out of Tommy Henry, and it didn't happen. Tonight was a different story. He was able to complete the start that we thought we were going to get last time from Tommy Henry. On the night, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts, gave up a home run, of course, but did a great job of dancing out of danger. 9 whiffs on 40 swings, 5 whiffs on 13 swings on his fastball. I mean, he doesn't throw the fastball hard, but he was throwing it by guys tonight. He threw the curveball the most, actually, which is typically his second most thrown pitch. Tonight, it was his first. So great start by Tommy Henry. That potentially gives him another turn through the rotation with all the injuries that the D-backs are currently mounting. D-backs tonight, great with runners in scoring position. 7 for 12 on the night. We love to see that. And finally, the last person I want to shout out, Logan Allen, has been absolutely fantastic for the D-backs so far. Another 3 innings, no earned runs. His ERA right now is 1.17. Logan Allen has been a godsend in his couple outings for the D-backs, coming out the pen, making long relief. So D-backs with the big blowout win over the St. Louis Cardinals as they win 14-1. But can they do it again in the series finale? Now, I want to talk to you guys about my favorite game that I'm addicted to playing right now. It's called Monopoly Go. I've been told I'm a competitive person. Okay, well, I have a competitive side, to say the least. And I think we all do. And my competitive side is a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it. It's been downloaded over 150 million times. It's a great twist on Monopoly where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with my friends. I can charge them rent on my iconic properties, just like classic Monopoly. But now I can also heist their value of riches for myself. And the leaderboards show me who the biggest Monopoly tycoon is. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in time tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play Store. I also want to talk to you guys about the greatest fantasy sports app out there, Prize Picks, because spring training is over and baseball season is officially underway. Don't miss your chance to add your favorite players from the diamond in your Prize Picks entries. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first inning runs, take your pick of more or less and add them to your Prize Pick entry today. Get in on the playoff action and win up to 100 times your money on Prize Picks as you and the world's best players take the game to a new level during basketball postseason. My favorite thing to do is take LeBron. I take the over on points, the over on rebounds, and when that hit, I feel amazing. So if you want to feel amazing, download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That is code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right. Let's get back into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. I want to ask you, are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings your can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Now let's actually get back to the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. And let's talk about what the D-backs need to do if they want to win this series finale. Because one thing they need to do is for the offense to show up once again. I don't want to see the D-backs score 14 runs in one game and then do nothing the very next game. I hate feast or famine teams. I hate trick or treat players. That's not what I want the D-backs to be. The last two times the D-backs have scored double-digit runs this season, the very next game they only put up 3 runs total. Now the first time they scored double digits, because they've done it now 4 times, including tonight, that's the 4th time. The first time they did it, they scored 7 the next day. But the last 2 times, most recently, 3 and 3. So what kind of D-backs are we going to get in the finale? Is it going to be feast or famine? Did we use all the juice up in game number 2? Because one thing that we did see in game number 2 that was a negative trend for the D-backs in that game and all season is the fact that the D-backs still didn't score any runs after the 6th. I know you were up 14-1, but that's been the excuse for the D-backs in a lot of these games. This D-backs offense does not score late. I don't care if they put up 14 runs in the first 6 innings. I want to see at least 1 run in the 8th or 1 run in the 7th, because the D-backs continue to not do that, and it's going to hurt them throughout this season if they are not able to get those clutch runs later in ball games. So that's what I want to see in this finale. Offense show up, continue to score early. I'm not saying stop scoring early, but score early and score late. Don't stop the offense. 2 guys that I'm looking at against Kyle Gibson of the St. Louis Cardinals, Jock Peterson and Eugenio Suarez. Both guys are 4 for 9 against Kyle Gibson in their career, so want to see if they keep that going. D-backs this season, 15 of their 25 games, they've scored at least 5 runs in it, the exact same amount, I believe, as the LA Dodgers. So D-backs, very good offense. They are clearly the number one offense in the National League. When you look at runs scored, the D-backs are actually kind of running away right now in terms of runs scored. The second best team in the National League with runs scored is the Atlanta Braves at 133. D-backs are at 148. They have a bunch of games with double-digit runs, 4 to be exact. So for the D-backs, don't be feast or famine. We've seen you have monster games this year. 15 of your 25, you scored at least 5 runs. Do it again in the series finale. And one guy we would love to see get going in the series finale, who is not there in today's game as the D-backs scored 14 runs, is Corbin Carroll, who has just struggled so mightily this season. His slash line right now, 215, 324, 269. He only has 1 home run on the year. Saving grace, 14 walks to 15 strikeouts. You love to see that. Like his strikeout to walk rate is basically exact, but the hard contact stats are really bad for Corbin Carroll. The ground ball rate starting to come down, but I don't know what the issue has been for him this year. His BABIP is only 247. He needs to get that up. Corbin Carroll, he's still stealing bases, which we know he can do, but offensively, that swing has not looked pretty this year for Corbin Carroll. It's been super flat. It's led to a lot of ground outs or pop-ups and just hasn't been pretty for Corbin Carroll. So would love to see him get going in the series finale because he's so important to what this D-backs team wants to do. And as the number 2 hitter, just never really producing, even when you get those run scoring opportunities, the RBI opportunities. Like Corbin Carroll is one of the few players on this D-backs team who is not good with runners in scoring position. Like a lot of this team, say what you want about their slash line, they at least come through with runners in scoring position. And Corbin Carroll this year, below 700 OPS with runners in scoring position, below 240 average with runners in scoring position, just not good enough. So going to need more Corbin Carroll going forward. Just like we're starting to get more Gabriel Moreno going forward because he is starting to heat up at the plate, and we're going to need both of these guys to really step it up because they were so critical to what the D-backs did last year. Of course, Corbin Carroll, Rookie of the Year. We know the stats. We know the resume. But Gabriel Moreno quietly was very important to this D-backs lineup, not just the defense, because we know he's arguably the best defensive catcher in baseball, but offensively, that 284 average last year came through in the clutch multiple times for the D-backs last season, batted 3rd in the lineup in the postseason. Like Moreno was so important offensively for this D-backs team last year. He started this season really slow, but it seems like he's starting to turn it around now. 12 for his last 34 with over a 900 OPS. If this is the Moreno we get going forward, this D-backs offense is going to continue to score at the highest rate in the National League. Then the final thing I just want to mention is Jordan Montgomery, because he was absolutely fantastic in his last start against the San Francisco Giants. 6 innings, 1 earned run. Can he do it again against a St. Louis Cardinals team who offensively, admittedly, does not score a ton of runs? Could be another nice little, tune-up start for Jordan Montgomery going against a struggling offense. Now, it is a team that he used to pitch for not that long ago, and it feels like teams they used to pitch for, they have a more in-depth scouting report. You used to be over there. They still have a lot of the same scouts and coaches. Like, yeah, they may be more prepared for Jordan Montgomery than most pitchers that they face throughout the season. So that could come back to hurt him. But with the way Jordan Montgomery looked in his first start, and the way Jordan Montgomery had just gotten better every single season, I'm very confident Jordan Montgomery is going to have a fantastic start in the series finale against the St. Louis Cardinals. Now I want to talk to you guys about my favorite food delivery service called DoorDash, because best believe after this podcast, I'm ordering me a fat burger and some fries off McDonald's from my DoorDash app. And DoorDash is also great for Mother's Day because you can surprise your mom with whatever you want, whether it's bouquet of flowers, the latest tech, gift cards, self-care treats, and more. You can get access to all those stores on DoorDash. So get all your Mother Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order up to $15 when you spend 15 plus dollars on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with code Locked On MLB. That's code Locked On MLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. All right, all right, all right. Let's get back into the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Let's talk about the pitching staff that I want going forward and the pitching staff that we will probably see going forward with all these injuries because the D-backs lost 3 more pitchers. Miguel Castro went on the IL. Merrill Kelly went on the IL. And both Kyle and Ryan Nelson both went on the injured list. Now, never wish injury on anyone, but Castro, Nelson, Kyle Nelson, that is, both going on the IL could be addition by subtraction. But Merrill Kelly, major loss in this rotation. Torey Lovullo, after the game, said it could be months, not weeks. He said it's not a guarantee. He's back before the All-Star break. The vibes around the D-backs not good right now. Feels like there's a dark cloud hanging over this D-backs team in terms of the amount of injuries that they keep getting, especially to that rotation. I believe one day we will see the rotation fully healthy. I don't know when that will be, but this D-backs team will need to hold it down until then. Most importantly, this pitching staff, which has gotten battered more than any other group on this D-backs team. So let's talk about what the staff is probably going to look like going forward, and then what I want the staff to look like once it's fully healthy. So right now, the rotation as it currently stands with all the injuries, still got your ace, Zach Gallen for now, number 1. Jordan Montgomery, such a critical signing for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Who knew all these injuries were going to come? Montgomery now as your number 2, with Fa as your number 3. Kind of just feels like what the D-backs throwing out there last year in the postseason, right? You just replaced Merrill Kelly with Jordan Montgomery. Now it's Gallen, Monty, and Fa. Like, that was your top 3 essentially last year, right? Just it's Kelly being replaced with Jordan Montgomery. Then your number 4 and number 5 starters, probably Tommy Henry, who has pitched a ton this season already. And then probably Slade going forward for now. I like Slade Ciccone a lot. He was really dominant in his first start with the D-backs. So I would say that's the soft starting 5 going forward with all these injuries. Then if you're looking at the bullpen, Sal Frank is back to replace Kyle Nelson. We got Mantiply, got Logan Allen, who has been really good for the D-backs. Got Kevin Ginkel, got Bryce Jarvis, got Justin Martinez. We got Scott McGuff and got Ryan Thompson for 8 relievers in the bullpen. That feels like the 13 pitchers the D-backs are going to move forward with while they have all these injuries. Now, Paul Sewald, it sounds like he could be back kind of soonish. He was on a little rehab assignment in AAA, so we need Sewald back sooner rather than later. If he gets reinstated, I assume Logan Allen would be the first guy to get sent back down. I think we all want to be Scott McGuff, but it'd probably be Logan Allen as the first guy that gets sent back down. Some other intriguing options in the bullpen, other intriguing options in Reno, just in case there's any more injuries to the current pitching staff, like let's say Bryce Jarvis or someone gets hurt. Here are some other intriguing options that are right on the bubble for this D-backs bullpen. Got Humberto Castellanos, who was absolutely phenomenal this spring training. If you look at the stats right now, pretty good right now in Reno. 11.2 innings pitched, 4 earned runs for a 3.09 ERA, 16 strikeouts as well to just 5 walks. You'll love to see that. Got Brandon Hughes, veteran, journeyman, major leaguer, 11.1 innings pitched, 2 earned runs for a 1.59 ERA, 10 Ks to 6 walks. You don't mind that at all. You also have Blake Walston, who is an intriguing top 30 prospect, more of a starter than a reliever, but maybe give him a chance as a long reliever. 16 strikeouts or 12 walks you don't like. Definitely has some command issues, but still a guy that you think is intriguing, at least as a prospect. Then the last guy that I would say is intriguing in this exercise is Christian Mena. I think the D-backs want to develop him more as a starting pitcher, so I don't think he would get the call up as a long reliever unless the D-backs call him up to give him a spot start and see what he does. He's been really good so far in Reno, acquired in the Dominic Fletcher trade. I think that could end up being a really good trade for the D-backs potentially down the line. Really like Christian Mena's potential. But the staff that I want to see, if fully healthy, entering the postseason, of course, I want a healthy rotation. Gallen, Kelly, Monty, Erod, and Fott is the starting rotation if everyone's healthy. But the bullpen that I want to see for the rest of the season, if everyone is healthy, of course, Paul Sewald is the closer. Kevin Ginko is the setup man. Seventh inning, either Ryan Thompson or Andrew Saalfrank. So your top four from the postseason last year. Then I want Bryce Jarvis, who has been really good this year. Very good long reliever. I want Ryan Nelson. I trust him with how he's looking right now. If he was your long reliever as well with a Bryce Jarvis, two hard-throwing righties. How about Justin Martinez? Another righty, another guy that could throw upper 90s, and we know Justin Martinez can throw up to 104. Then the last guy that I would want in the bullpen, Slade Ciccone. I know that's like three long relievers essentially, but that's also three guys that could throw super hard. And Jarvis, Ryan Nelson, Slade, they can all ratchet it up to 95, 96 miles per hour. I know that will probably leave you a lefty short, but let's be honest, you would trust those guys I just mentioned more in a lefty situation than you would a Mantiply or a Kyle Nelson. I would just get Castro, McGuff, Mantiply, and Kyle Nelson probably all off this bullpen. I just don't think they've been good enough over the last couple of years. I think we've seen a large enough sample size, and I think I would just go in another direction with some of the young guys on this D-backs roster. Now, that's it for this edition of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Come back tomorrow for more Diamondbacks news coverage and insight. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Doses.